This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
If you're a QuickBooks customer looking to grow without the growing pains, you need the Intuit ERP, the AI-native ERP that upgrades right from QuickBooks. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
And now, a special edition of the Toddcast podcast.
Powered by Citywide Mortgage Services, providing complete financing and mortgage services for residential and small commercial businesses. Visit them at citywidemortgage.ca.
Now, here's your host, Todd Hancock.
And this week, you'll go on a journey through the career highlights of 9 truly remarkable guests from the worlds of music, sports, entertainment, from the stage to the gridiron, behind the scenes. You will hear stories of triumphs, challenges, unforgettable moments, shaping paths along the way. You'll feel inspired by these guests who are reaching for the top. In sports, she's sculpted success in more ways than one. He's known for his fiery presence on and off the NHL ice. And if you want to start talking about CFL precision, longevity, the record books, his name echoes the uprights. In entertainment, from intense action to gripping storytelling, his talent is unmistakable. She's had the quintessential broadcast career, now focused on live stream shopping, and is a career commerce consultant. Say that 5 times fast. And she's a naked news host. From her Instagram bio, she's a redhead with mermaid vibes. You will hear from this week's musical guests in just a minute. The guitarist in a Southern Fried Riffs and Boundless Energy band, the frontman of one of Canada's most dynamic rock bands, loud, unapologetic, in your face, and he's been the voice of big rock bands over the years. My name is Todd Hancock. Love that you're along for the ride. Another Toddcast, episode 358, all about career highlights. I'll share some of my highlights later on in the podcast. It's because of our sponsors that we're able to continue banging out week after week, like our title sponsor. Citywide Mortgage Services is key to our current creativity, knowing that they have our backs. They're into the 3rd year sponsoring, another huge supporter of the arts, of the indie scene, and they have big hearts. Recently won an award for the biggest philanthropic donation in their industry. They're giving back, and we're super honored, of course, to be aligned with such a well-known and trusted mortgage company here in Vancouver. Talk to my good buddy Dara. He's one of the owners. He'll dial everything in for you. New mortgage, renewing like I did in early January. He made it smooth, simple, seamless. So use my circle, use my network, my friends, to better your life as well. Hit up Dara through Citywide Mortgage Services. Now, coming up in just a few minutes in Listen to This, Tesla lead guitarist Frank Hannon talks about recording their albums and which, if any, are his favorites. That, as always, is powered by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley. RV service, repairs, they are ICBC accredited, and they've sponsored the Toddcast for 9 years straight. There's no breaks in the advertising, absolute gems, and a big reason we're able to continue banging out these podcasts year in, year out. You can find them online, kicking around from time to time on Facebook and on Twitter through Tedco RV Supplies. First, let's get to some career highlights from musical guests, and Ben Wells, guitarist for Blackstone Cherry, with the first crack of the bat. Here's a band from Edmonton, Kentucky, formed in 2001. They're coming up on 25 years together, which is crazy. These guys are absolute powerhouses. I mean, big stage presence. Their live show, phenomenal. They're 8 studio albums in. Their latest, Screaming at the Sky, came out in 2023. They've toured the world with the biggest of the big. Nickelback, Def Leppard, Whitesnake, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Bad Company. They've sold millions of albums. So what does Ben consider his career highlight at the time that he was a guest?
It is tough because I think I'm blessed to say that we've had several, but I would say one show that we did as in the last few years that we really wanted, it was a bucket list venue, is when we played the Royal Albert Hall.
Oh.
And and we filmed a DVD of that because we knew, like, hey, if we're playing here, this has to be recorded. We've wanted that venue for years, and it's such a hard venue to get into. The process to be able to play there is it's crazy. And
really, why is that?
I don't know. I think it's just because it's such a prestigious place, and that the waiting list is years long, and the fact that we were able to do it was just amazing. And what's cool is we played it September of 2021, and the night before we were there playing our show. Sorry, my dog's going crazy.
Honestly, can't even hear him. It's
okay.
Fine. Yeah.
The night before we played our show, they did the new James Bond movie premiere at the same venue. So like Daniel Craig and all these celebrities were there. And then we rolled in the next day. And it was like, this is just crazy to think about. Like, that's the kind of venue it was, And it was like, it was another one of those out of body experiences too. My family came over to see it. It was just really fun.
Love that. We'd wanted that venue for years. It's such a hard venue to get into. Super cool to hear about successes like that, hey? You want something, drive, determination to go get it. It's just awesome. From Blackstone Cherries guitarist Ben Wells to another monster guitarist and frontman of one of Canada's coolest rock bands, Danko Jones, the outspoken and electrifying Danko Jones. They've been banging away since 1996. They're coming up on 30 years from Toronto. And when you think of high energy rock and roll, Danko Jones needs to be in the conversation. Hard rock, punk, a dash of swagger. Their live show is undeniably one of today's best. A crushing live band.
I don't know. There's been a few. Obviously, the first ones that come to mind is, playing with the Rolling Stones in Toronto,
right,
for a gig, and we were asked to play, and apparently it came from the Stones. When I found out more about it, I've heard two different versions. I've heard a few stories about the show in regards to us. So. My roommate, and that's a long story, but my roommate gave Mick Jagger a copy of our album like a couple of months before the gig for his birthday when the Stones were in Toronto, and there was a Mick Jagger birthday party. My roommate at the time got in, and he gave Mick a copy of our album called Born a Lion. Then I heard that, and that was straight from my roommate. My roommate told me. Mm-hmm. So I knew that was true. And then I was at a club once, walking into this like restaurant club to meet a friend, and the bouncer took me aside, and he said, I did security for the Stones when they were here for 40 Licks, and Ron Wood listened to your album every day. So that was a story I wasn't expecting that night. And then I was in Belgium doing press. This is going back 2006, so it's going back a few years. Mm. But I did an interview with a journalist who said that he asked Keith Richards, he did an interview with Keith Richards and asked him who were his favorite opening bands on the 40 Licks tour, because that's when he interviewed Keith after the 40 Licks tour. And Keith Richards said, the White Stripes and Us. And I asked the journalist, did you record that? And he said yes. And I'm still waiting he promised he'd give me a recording of the interview. And I've actually since talked to him.
Right.
And I asked him last time I talked to him if he had the recording. And he said, I couldn't find it, or he didn't have it, or he forgot or something. So I'm still waiting on that interview with Keith Richards and him.
13 years later, yeah.
I really want that clip.
Dude, are you kidding me? Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's been a few, no doubt. When you start to comb back over 30 years as a band, or I guess maybe 27 at the time that Danko did this interview. Love Danko Jones. Got all the time in the world for that band. And finally, a man that I respect in a crazy, crazy way. And I know I've gotten some slack for saying that the dead Daisies singer John Corabi's album with Motley Crue is likely the best Crue album. Like, you wouldn't believe the slack I was taking on Instagram when I posted that in our stories. But John's album with Motley is an underrated piece of rock history. I bet if they changed their name of the band, it's Motley Crue with a new singer. Maybe they'd gotten bigger with that lineup, or who knows. John's had an enviable career with the Scream, Union, ESP, of course, the Dead Daisies and Motley Crue. His autobiography, Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, is one of the best rock reads out there. But this career highlight story is the best.
I can easily answer that one because it happened in Vancouver. There was actually two of them. When we were doing the Motley record, I actually got to sit in Little Mountain on the couch in the lounge, and I sat and I played Seasons of Wither with Steven Tyler.
Oh, cool.
And then while we were there, Tommy and I can't remember the name of the place. It was like a theater, but like a small theater, maybe 2,500, 3,000 people.
Yep.
And we went to a theater and we saw Robert Plant. And
probably the Orpheum.
Probably. And then I just remember we went backstage and we were sitting there. We were hanging out with Michael Lee, Robert's drummer.
Yep.
And he invited us. He said, hey, we all usually go to like a pub or something like that, and we jam afterwards. And we went to this little pub somewhere in Vancouver, and Robert and his band went up and they did a bunch of blues tunes. And Robert called us up to jam, and Tommy's like, you want to jam? And I go, yeah, I'll jam. And I got up and started walking towards the stage. And I thought Tommy was behind me. He stood up. You want to jam? And I go, yeah, I'll jam. And I got up, grabbed a guitar, and I turned around, and he wasn't there. He was pissing himself laughing in the booth. And I wound up jamming with those guys.
Wow.
So it was cool. That was that to me, like, we always kid around when we're driving around in the thing and in the vans and the buses and I told Doug and Marco, I said, yeah, I got to do Seasons of Wither with Steven Tyler and jam the Lemon song, or a weird version of it, with Robert Plant. So it was pretty cool.
The Toddcast podcast is powered by Milano Coffee, bringing you the finest espresso and coffee concepts in the world. Online at milanocoffee.ca.
Me and my friend Molly, we went out for a walk. Made our way to Mowat's Bay and wandered out on the dock. I tried to drown my pain, she said she'd make it disappear, but it's still here.
Listen to this on the Toddcast podcast.
Straight up, the 80s and 90s were wild. If you know, you know. No cell phones, no internet, just big hair, neon, partying. If you wanted to know something about your favorite band, hopefully Rolling Stone or Circus, Spin, Metal Edge, or whatever magazine was writing a story about them. Motley Crue was all sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Poison was glam. Def Leppard was massive, big hooks, huge choruses. Rat was sleazy in a good way. And then there was Tesla. They stood out among the rest. Genuine, rootsy, riff-driven, gritty, real, and honest. And when Tesla's lead guitarist, Frank Hannon, was a guest, we talked about the music in his life early on. He told his first concert story. We talked about self-help books, touring Canada, binge-watching Westerns and Star Trek, the crazy days of touring with David Lee Roth, the sports that he loves to watch, their Vegas residency at the House of Blues. And this was cool. Frank talked about recording Tesla's albums and which are his favorites. Listen to this.
I have to tell you the truth. Every single Tesla album, including the Shock album that we did with Phil Collin,
right?
We worked really hard on every single one of them. So the effort that was put into every single album is the same. I mean, our goal has always been to try to make a great album, whether it was the last one or one in the middle. Now, that being said, every great band has different chapters and eras of their career, including Van Halen, Led Zeppelin, Rush.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a fan, you know. Okay, so getting back to Tesla, I'm really fond of our first album because, like we were talking about earlier, I was really young, and those songs had been written at a point in my life when I was a teenager, when I was co-writing them with the guys and the Times. We had been preparing and pre-producing and writing those songs like Changes and Coming At You Live and Modern Day Cowboy, you know, for years up to it. So I would say that first album, we were live in the studio at Bearsville. The second album, we were under pressure, what they call the sophomore jinx, you know, and we were really trying to find ourselves even more so than the first album on the second album. Now that one's got Love Song, Heaven's Trail. The 5-man acoustic jam album was totally live at a club, so I think we were firing all cylinders on that album. And Psychotic Supper, we were living in New York City for 3 months in Manhattan, going crazy. And
well, that's actually the album that he prefaced that question with was, you know, I've been listening to Psychotic Supper. It's fucking amazing. What does Frank think is the best one?
Okay, well, I would put that, I don't know if it's the best one, but we were definitely in our prime, in our heyday at that period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going nuts. We were living in New York City full time. And, you know, they say the city never sleeps. Well, I can tell you, we didn't sleep a wink either.
Listen to This on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, an ICBC-approved repair shop. Visit them on Facebook and Twitter at Tedco RV Supplies. And now, highlighting our next Blue Light Sessions, powered in part by Canadian Club Whiskey. Meet your new cold one. We serve Canadian Club and Ginger ready-to-drink cocktails at all of our live shows. Visit CanadianClub.com today.
feel like I should say that ass kicking is brought to you by 20 Million People. Great song for those guys called Factory Fodder. And you are less than a few weeks away from seeing them live at the Blue Light Studio in East Vancouver. Seeing Grey is going to be opening up the night. So it's on the last Friday of the month, Friday, March 28th. Toddcast Podcast, Blue Light Sessions, Volume 36. And she is a pummeling night. Both bands will get a 45-minute set. I will chat them up at the start, maybe the first 15, 20 minutes, but you can ask the bands questions as well. And for $20, you're not going to find a better bang for the buck. Blue Light's vibe is, believe me, it's just right. This little studio tucked away in East Vancouver, kind of by Hastings and Commercial-ish. It's not exactly there, but just to give you a bit of an idea. Grab a ticket for the beatdown through eventbrite.ca, Brite, eventbrite.ca. Search Toddcast Podcast. You can't miss us. Save some cash, by the way, if you buy early, and make sure you get in the door as well. It's only 60 tickets for all of our podcast shows. You'll see it's relatively small space and 60 people. I mean, it rams the room. So you heard a new song for Charlie P.S. as well, and that's called Mouthpiece. And Charlie's become one of the go-tos in Vancouver's indie scene. A solid performer, great songs, super catchy. Got the feeling that 2025, 26, it's going to be big years for Charlie. Another artist that you should definitely have on your must-see list. Okay, so coming up shortly, and stop me if you've heard this before, voice actor Adrian Petru talks about getting into voice work at a relatively young age. It's something that I'd kind of tossed around a bit over the years. I once did a Christmas special that aired on CMT, and that was pretty cool to hear and see on TV. Love doing voice work. As always, that's powered by our buddies at Home Dwell Group. Longtime friends, talking about formative years here. Elementary school, high school. Was a best man at one of the partners' weddings kind of friends, right? So if you're buying a home or you're selling your home, contact Kyle today. He'll make sure that you're taken care of from start to finish. Make it super, super simple. HomeDwell.ca. HomeDwell.ca. First, let's get to some career highlights from our sporting guests this week, all of whom are powered by Sacred Meds, Canada's best online dispensary for cannabis, psilocybin, psychedelics. You can shop now through sacredmeds.co. Sacredmeds.co. We're talking weed, mushrooms, edibles, vapes, DMTs, oils, dabs, CBD, so much more. I usually grab a little bit of keef, a little bit of hash, half ounce of something. Sacredmeds.co. Sacredmeds.co. You heard renowned fitness expert, entrepreneur, and two-time world champion fitness athlete Diane Chaloux on the podcast earlier last year. She co-founded HitchFit with her husband, online fitness personal training, and they absolutely crush it.
Well, I would say, there's been a lot of things I would say are highlights. Probably one of the most recent was we, in addition to HitchFit, we also run a fitness retreat business called Rock Body. And we actually had a real tragedy this past year. Our business partner died in February. And so we kind of have had to rally and pick up the pieces. And we had a retreat in March, at the end of March, that, so it was 5 weeks after we lost him. And it was hard as it was to pull it together. And we had 90 people that came down to Mexico with us, and a lot of them were connected to him. So there was a lot of grieving, and there was a lot of, that piece. But I say it's a highlight because God just gave us the strength to do it. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences. He gave us the strength to be there, to pick up all of those people and to kind of catch all of those feelings and give people a place where they could let stuff out, but then build them back up. And so I would actually say that experience, there were so many powerful pieces to it, but it was probably one of the highlights of my entire life, honestly.
Yeah, you gotta love that. God just gave us the strength to do it. One of the most beautiful experiences. From a world-renowned fitness expert to a Stanley Cup winning retired NHL defenseman, Mike Commodore. I believe we got Mike's contact through Dara, one of the owners of Citywide Mortgage Services, our title sponsor. And if you follow hockey, you know that Mike is an absolute beast and a gem. 6'4", .227 over his career. He appeared in 484 games, recorded 23 goals, 83 assists. After retiring from pro hockey, Mike became known for his candid commentary on social media. He's been involved with many business ventures as well. He played with the Devils, the Flames, the Hurricanes, the Senators, the Blue Jackets, Red Wings, Tampa Bay, was part of the Hurricanes' 2006 Stanley Cup winning team.
Thank God I had one good year. I didn't have many, but the one good year was a really good year. Yeah. Obviously it was a special year. I'm actually going to run into one of the guys, hopefully either today, Rod Brindamore. He's the head coach for the Hurricane, or for Carolina now, but Carolina's in town. They play Calgary tomorrow. So it's always nice when they come to town. I get to catch up with. Now I really don't know any of the players. It's all like coaching staff and shit because I'm getting old. But
exactly.
It was a great year. I mean, obviously there was a lot of luck involved too. I mean, I was in Calgary in 2004.
Yeah, it was the trade that kind of got you there in the first place.
Yeah. I was like, I finally signed a contract after we go to the finals. I finally signed a one-way contract. I'm pumped to be in Calgary. Then there's a fucking lockout. There's no more NHL. I'm back in the minors again. I'm like, Jesus, I cannot get out of this league. And then I had a good year in the minors, and that year we split a farm team. Calgary and Carolina split the Lowell Lock Monsters. So half the team was Carolina guys, and Carolina scouts and general manager and head coach, because it was a lot closer to come watch games because Carolina's on the East Coast. Like the Calgary guys didn't come out there much because there was no NHL and it's a long ways.
Right.
And I had a good year, and Carolina ended up trading for me. So what I thought was a bad thing, the lockout, to be honest, looking back, it was the best thing that happened in my career, because I ended up getting traded to Carolina because of it. And with the rule changes, I think we had a really good team for sure, but we were like picked to finish. Back then there was 30 teams. I think everybody picked us to finish. They were shitty in the year before the lockout, so everybody thought we were going to be shitty again. So I think we were picked to finish like 28th in the league. Like we were supposed to be horse shit. And we were, honestly, I think we lost 2 games in a row, like a couple times, but it was pretty rare. And I think we lost 3 games in a row one time during the year towards the end. And other than that, yeah, we were pretty solid. So yeah, it's weird how it works out. What I thought was awful ended up being the best thing that could have happened to me.
Thank God I had one good year. I don't think I had many, but one good year was a really good year. If you don't follow Mike Commodore on social media, you're doing it wrong. Super, super funny guy. And from a retired NHL defenseman to a retired kicker for your BC Lions, Paul McCallum. Paul is a stud. 24 seasons in the CFL, played 340 games. The BC Lions, Ottawa Rough Riders, the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, 2 Grey Cup championships with BC in 2006 and 2011, 2006's most valuable Canadian, inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in 2022. Just an incredible career.
My first professional game, the 2006 Grey Cup, 2011 season. The 2011 season is pretty special, pretty magical. I honestly don't know if that will ever happen again, where a team starts out 0-5, and then to go from losing 5 in a row to going to dominating and playing as well as we did the rest of the season. To me, it's kind of hard to explain how were we that good and lost 5 in a row to begin with. It's
Yeah, is it like a switch? Suddenly you guys, it's like turn it on.
Well, I mean, the team, it was very different because even when we lost those, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, there was never, ever a sense of panic. I think I remember maybe it was Travis talking to the players saying how, we got to keep the faith, keep going because we're a good team, and, we're just making wrong mistakes at the wrong time. And, even though with him saying things like that, there was really, I don't think there was a sense of panic. And then, we just put our nose down and just kept on going. So that season was special. And,
I do remember that season.
Yeah, and then that was the year when I had my consecutive field goals and against Calgary, and the one that I missed got returned for a touchdown. And then my next field goal I got to kick to win the game So that was probably a memorable season and a memorable kick as well.
Toddcast Podcast sporting guest visits are powered by Sacred Meds, Canada's best online dispensary for cannabis, psilocybin, and psychedelics. Shop now at sacredmeds.co.
Diplomatic, disenchanted. I just show your tucked away. This keeps you safe. It will get better. You deserve this. Just some circles for the future. Pull you away in some strange way. But I can't handle this. You're the blade in my back. It's scandalous. Oh, you spend your time tearing up your life. I'll be right here by your side. So tell your friends that they were right about me, and I'll say the same about you to mine. Told you I will wait for you, but you changed your focus. Broke away from all my habits, but nobody noticed. You asked me not to change for you, but we outgrew each other. I can't waste another summer, so I guess it's time that I learn to change for myself. But I can't handle this. You're the blade in my back. It's scandalous. Oh, you spend your time tearing up your life. I'll be right here by your side. So tell your friends that they were right about me, and I'll say the same about you to mine. I'm glad we got to grow together before we grew apart. Kept your letters, think it's better that I stayed far. The seeds you planted still grow. You used to call me home. Now the bed we used to share is where I sleep alone. I'm glad we got to grow together before we grew apart. Kept your letters, think it's better that I stayed far. The seeds you planted still grow. You used to call me home. Now the bed we used to share is where I sleep alone. But I can't handle this. You're the blade in my back. It's scandalous. Oh, you spend your time tearing up your life. I'll be right here by your side. So tell your friends that they were right about me, and I'll say the same about you to mine.
And now, stop me if you've heard this before on the Toddcast Podcast.
You'll likely know Adrian Petru from his acting or voice work over the years. He's had parts in Hell on Wheels, Arrow on CW, The Hollow, the animated Iron Man Armored Adventures. He was Tony Stark. And when Adrian did an in-studio interview, he talked about the shows that he was binge-watching at the time. F1 Racing came up, so did the Watchmen graphic novel. We talked about legalized weed, superpowers, Marvel and DC. We talked about family a lot as well. And stop me if you've heard this before, Adrian talked about getting into voice work at a relatively young age.
You know, starting at, I was about 13 when I started to dabble in voice work.
So how did you get into it? Like what was the conduit to get you to that first gig?
I've honestly, my whole life, it's like in my blood. I've loved movies and, you know, when I was a kid in kindergarten, the teacher called my mom in and she said, you know, we need to talk I'm really concerned about Adrian because all he does is talk about movies and TV, and we think that's it's a bad sign and all this stuff.
He's too focused.
Yeah,
we need to throw him off here. Does he like science?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, and I wasn't like a couch potato or anything, but I just it stoked my imagination, man. I was so into cartoons and Star Wars. I still am a Star Wars nut.
Right.
And
how could you not be?
Right. And we would, my mom would take me to the movies constantly because we didn't have air conditioning. So in the summertime, my mom just would go
kill
nuts.
Two birds.
Exactly. My mom would go nuts in the summertime in the house, and she'd go, that's it, we're going to the movies. So we'd go 3-4 times a week, and we would see, back then it was $2. You'd go to Lougheed Mall, there's the cinema there, and you'd drop it $2 and go. And anyway, so I always wanted to be involved in film, and then I kind of made the decision at some point I wanted to be an actor, and my parents signed me up, about 8 or 9 years old for, Bard and the Beach.
Stop Me If You've Heard This Before on the Toddcast podcast is powered by the Homedwell Group. Buying a house? Selling your home? Contact Kyle at homedwell.ca today.
Red Truck Beer, delivered fresh, the official beer of the Toddcast podcast.
The sun is shining, we climb 1,000 steps down through the ravine to the shore. Under a golden sky, hand in hand, you and I, here with the ones that we love, dancing to the light. Here in paradise, this is what dreams are made of.
is Quickness, and a new song for them and new to the Toddcast as well. It's called Paradise. Another solid song for Jacob and the boys. They've been banging away here in Vancouver in the scene for decades. A staple, if you will, I guess, in our scene, and getting lots of radio airplay at BCIT's campus radio station as well, Evolution 107.9. You heard Cloudsick, and another band that Evolution is also playing, and a great song for those guys called Letters Kept. I would say that band is my favorite Vancouver indie band of last year. They came out of nowhere for me. Suddenly, here's this band, great singer, crushing, absolutely catchy as hell, and they are deadly live. Tough to tick off all of those boxes with one band, but Cloudsick does that. They absolutely tore Blue Light Studio apart for the podcast just before Christmas. Okay, so let's get to our final guests of this episode 358 and some career highlights from entertainment and lifestyle guests, all of whom are powered by our good friends at Thrive Management, an event staffing agency here in Canada. If your next event needs to take it up a notch, models, brand ambassadors, we're talking operations, sales, TV, film, trade shows, whatever it is, whatever the event is, Sasha and her team are known for being at the upper tier, upper echelon in Canada for this regard. Major cities across our fair country. Boost your next event through thrivemanagement.ca. So you'll know actor Brady Roberts as a Canadian actor and producer. Actually, he's based here in Vancouver as well. I met him at Kyle's wedding, Kyle from the Home Dwell Group. And what a cool career for Brady. Like, he started his career off through stage acting and pro wrestling in Alberta, moved to TV and film. You'll recognize Brady from Arrow, Lucifer, Batwoman. He co-founded the Rogue Panda Pictures, which is a production company here in Vancouver. He's written, produced, and acted in various projects, including the award-winning fan film Nightwing, The Darkest Night, back in 2015.
A few years ago, I was working with a director on just developing a short film, something that I could star in and something that he could showcase some directing and visual effects that he was doing. And we made a little Nightwing short, and it was like 3 minutes, and it kind of blew up online. It got over 300,000 hits and became really popular. And then I ended up moving to Vancouver to further pursue the acting stuff and kind of built a team here. And it's been a hit online. There's been 4 previous episodes, and then we're currently shooting the sequel right now. So the 4 previous episodes is sort of part 1. And then the sequel is going to be about a 25, 30-minute short. That's going to be part 2 of the series. So it's pretty badass. I mean, we just released the teaser trailer online. It's about a 45-second teaser. And really high-quality stuff. We built a team that's just amazing, all industry pros. And everybody that just loves Batman. Everyone's just like nerding out and wants to work on a Batman short. And that's why we were able to sort of get a lot of people that maybe we wouldn't have been able to get on a volunteer short on their weekends to shoot a movie, but because it's Nightwing, everybody's pretty stoked about it.
Yeah, no kidding, right? He goes, it's been a hit online. There's already been 4 previous episodes. To say the least, I remember at the time, the buzz around Brady's Nightwing stuff was awesome. Like, he really is being understated there. From a cool Canadian actor, producer, wrestler, to a TV personality, entrepreneur, Dawn Chubai. You'll best know Dawn as an actress and TV host. She was fantastic in the Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer back in 2007, Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, The Watchmen. Awesome, right? I mean, if you're going to have roles in movies, talk about boom. If you're from Vancouver, you'll know her from years of doing Breakfast Television Vancouver, a host on the shopping channel, lots of public speaking, performance, media coaching. She launched the live selling school last year, or was it the year before? Super talented, super focused. She is in it to win it.
Oh, I mean, listen, without question, it's being exposed to so many great people. You know this, right? Causes, and I know that sounds like, oh yeah, sure, but no, it's true. I mean, the people that you meet, the access that you have, and the opportunity, which also, of course, means responsibility in highlighting some really important people and concepts, even if I even kind of go concepts, because it could be, really the idea of, okay, how important is, kids in sport. and kids having access to sport. So when I would do breakfast television in Vancouver, and keep in mind, I worked, in Edmonton, I worked in Vancouver, and then I also worked in Toronto at the Shipping Channel for sort of going out an entrepreneur. But, having the opportunity to do live eyes, with the caps and the camps that they do for the kids, or, being able to promote, like arts and all that kind of stuff. There, I think, highlights, it's hard to pick one. I mean, was it cool to meet Dr. Sanjay Gupta in Vancouver? Yeah. I mean, that was cool, but it's actually not the celebrities that come to mind first. And so, 23 years is a lot to unpack.
Oh, yeah.
And to think like, what were a favorite moment? But I have to say, it's just the accumulation of absolutely every experience I had, every time I had to get up early, and like everybody else that goes to work at whatever job you do, sometimes like literally push yourself out of bed and then realizing, man, I get to do this. I think it's all encompassing. Favorite parts, not one, all of it. All of it's the favorite.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go on that. She goes, without question, it's being exposed to so many great people. You know this, right? Yeah, without a doubt, if I'm going to understand any guest's reply with this podcast, this is the one. I can start talking about my radio and podcasting career, and it just starts to come off sometimes as bragging, like hosting world album premieres with Metallica, Nickelback, Velvet Revolver, flying around the world to do my radio show, co-hosting radio with Chris Cornell, Korn's Jonathan Davis, Slipknot's Corey Taylor, doing 2-hour live shows multiple times with Todd Kearns. It really is a bit of a mind melter, this beautiful industry that Don and I have been working in for decades. And from a beloved Canadian TV personality and entrepreneur to Naked News host Marina Valmont, another TV personality model who loves her job. It's very obvious if you check out her social media feeds. A huge following. I mean, huge following online. Cosplay, modeling, executive director, development, production. Listen to what Marina said about career highlights when she was a guest.
I think I think so far I've become creative producer for this new website, Tempted. So it's a mashup between Twitch and OnlyFans. So it's more about like a nude show, but like relating to your audience. And I do 2 to 3 weekly shows on there a week. But as a creative producer, I'm producing content for the website. And I'll be going to events. I'll be putting events together. I've put together a calendar for 2021. That was incredible. Learning to deal with models is like its own experience.
Oh, I bet.
We also have a Twitch channel for that. And there's an Instagram. I do weekly lives on there. And yeah, managing my time between Naked News, my Tempted account, and as creative producer. It's quite a lot.
Talkcast Podcast entertainment guest visits are powered by Thrive Management, an event staffing agency that provides staffing services across Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto, Ottawa, and all of BC. Find out more at thrivemanagement.ca.
There's too many people in my bed. Even if half are in my head. Some of them, they just wanna be loud. They chew me up and spit me out. And I'm stumbling in the dark, just hoping we can see the light. Holding every broken heart that keeps us awake at night. Can't remember, can't forget.
And I'm melting in the dark, just hoping you can see the light. And the strange insanity keeps pushing us to fight. And tell me what the hell it is we're supposed to survive. And tell me what the hell it is we're supposed to survive. Watching over and beyond. I'll love you even when I'm gone. And I'm melted in the dark just so that you could see the light. Now I'm calling on the deepest parts of life. Tell me what the hell it is we're supposed to survive. To tell me what the hell it is we're supposed to survive. Tell me what the hell it is we're supposed to survive. Tell me what the hell it is we're supposed to survive. Tell me what the hell it is we're supposed to survive.
Oh man, how good does that sound? A first spin for Joan Bessie and a new song for her. It's called Dark Voices. New for her, new to the Toddcast as well. And of course, Joan's a favorite of ours, based partially on her live performances at the Blue Light Studio. She really is top notch. If you hear Joan playing anywhere near you, make the effort to go. She really is incredible. All right, so you'll love our next episode. Dexter, Original Sin actress Raquel Justice is a guest.
Yes. Yes. I've been a theater kid since I learned how to walk, I think.
Okay.
I was like, I don't know how many times I've said this because whenever people ask, I have to mention it, but I was definitely like in all the home videos, the most annoying kid who has to be in front of the camera, has to have the stage. I learned before I could read, I learned how to memorize. Like my mom would read me books and I'd memorize them and I would like read them back because I couldn't read, but I had a really good memory and I was always a performer and I loved reading. And I think that really, really attributes to like how much I love to take words off of a paper and bring it to life. And I never really did a lot of theater productions. I feel like I've never really went to a consistent school. I kind of was always leaving for acting, or becoming homeschooled or taking my GED test and leaving high school 2 years early. So I never had like a consistent school life where I could do productions with them. But this is my first school that I've been at for like 4 years or 3 years actually. But I've always been, I'm a theater kid to the heart. I'm a theater kid not in practice, I say.
Right? This annoying kid who has to have the camera. So joining actress Raquel Justice on our next podcast is Broken Love singer Justin Benlolo and Canucks anthem singer Elizabeth Irving. That was a great conversation. Of course, big thanks to all 9 of our guests this week, going back to when they were originally a guest and pulling out all of their career highlights, because we all have them, regardless of what you do to pay the bills. It just so happens that rock stars and pro athletes, actors, or whatever all have super easy and recognizable highlights, but we all have them. So let's put this one to bed. Episode 358. Once again, my name is Todd Hancock. Thank you so much for listening, for being there. If you like what you heard, please do tell your friends about us. It helps us grow, gets into those timelands that we literally have no business being in. We are part of the Realm.fm network, which are based out of New York City. Check them out for fiction, nonfiction podcasts. So many great podcasts. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Megaphone. You can, of course, watch our videos through our YouTube channel. A massive thanks to all of our wonderful sponsors. Drink Red Truck beer when you watch the Canucks attempt a season. Sip Milano coffee in the morning when you're waking yourself up. Of course, you can find all sponsor websites at toddhancock.ca. If you'd like to sponsor us with your business or yourself or whatever it is, you can for as little as $10 a day. Contact info is at the homepage. Now, if you help us find a sponsor, always we'll give you a commission. Okay. We're not even kidding. We'll pay you if you get a business to sponsor us. Okay. Till next time, don't be an asshole. Nobody wants to be around that. Not one person. Have fun, play hard, and most of all, believe in yourself.
You've been listening to the Toddcast podcast, powered by Citywide Mortgage Services, dedicated to helping you find the best mortgage rates. Available 7 days a week at citywidemortgage.ca.
Reality TV is messy.
Pop culture is louder than ever.
And the internet
completely unhinged.
Welcome to Roxanne
and Chantel,
the podcast where cousins Roxanne and Chantel break down reality TV, celebrity drama, and the stories everyone's texting about.
We recap the shows,
spill the headlines,
and sit down with the stars themselves.
No filter,
no boring takes,
just the tea.
New episodes every week.
If it's trending,
we're talking about it.
This is Roxanne
and Chantel.
Let's get into it.
Do you ever watch a TV show set in a historical time period and think, how accurate is this really? But also, does it matter if it's accurate or not?
Nefr is a new podcast about shows set in ancient times. This season, we're recapping every episode of the show Spartacus, Blood and Sand.
I'm Ann Foster, and I have never seen this show before.
And I'm Gina Berry, and I have watched this show maybe too many times.
Join us every other Monday on the Nefr podcast as we discuss the real history behind Spartacus, Blood and Sand.
Follow Nefr, that's Nefer TV, wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, before you go hunting for something else to listen to, let me make it easy. I'm Mike Carruthers, host of a podcast called Something You Should Know, and I speak with experts about fascinating things that affect your life, from human behavior, relationships, health, science, and everyday mysteries. We've been downloaded millions of times because every episode teaches you something you'll be talking about later. Open up Something You Should Know and give it one episode. You might just find your new favorite podcast.